We've had an extraordinary morning with AFIRE today, telling the story of New York City's growth over the last 30 years, much of it driven by the Economic Development Corporation. So we started this morning at Pier 17, one of EDC's many waterfront projects, with a presentation on all of the opportunities across the city.
So you're going to see some things today that I think will frankly blow your mind. And the more that I spend time with NYCEDC, the more my mind is kind of perpetually blown by the sort of work that they're doing.
Today, you're going to see some very important investments that the Adams administration has made. You're going to see critical investments that we've made in housing, in life sciences and biotech, in infrastructure, in transportation, multimodal mobility, transportation infrastructure. New York City is a great bet. We are inviting the world to come and invest in New York City with generous incentives and public-private partnership opportunities.
Our team, we've been around the world. We've been to the Middle East, to Africa, to Europe. And every single time that we traveled, the question was always the same. What does New York City actually have for people to invest in? And so this is the answer. We wanted to bring you here to tell you what we have for you to invest in, what are our assets. And we hope that as you leave today, that you don't just keep this information for yourself, but that you share it with others.
And part of today is to understand the long term in New York. As investors, you have to think about the long term. The fundamentals of New York City's economy are very, very strong. We've been on a 30-year upward trajectory here in New York, and we are uniquely positioned to be the place for investment in the future. And then we deliver sustainable infrastructure, over $9 billion a year. So again, we are in that middle ground between the public and private sector. We have a $9 billion capital budget. We manage 64 million square feet of space on behalf of the city. We have over 200 different active projects. On top of that, we are adding jobs at a faster clip than any other city in the United States. And when you look at us compared to other cities, just in the last year, we've added more jobs than Dallas, Miami, and Atlanta combined. That's an extraordinary track record. I think the most fundamental data to any city as to whether you're being successful is, are people moving here? Are you having a net gain in population? That's 87,000 new people, net new folks coming to New York City just in the last year. If you look at the metro area, that's about 190,000 people, again, far exceeding other major metro areas in New York City. And the data that I am so excited about, and I think really speaks to the kinds of businesses that you're investing in, is what is happening with young people. They are literally voting with their feet. 565,000 young people have moved here, recent college and university graduates, in the last 3 years. That's an astonishing statistic. That's on top of 500,000 that are in college here today. That is why the innovation companies of the future want to be in New York City, to tap into that talent.
You want to make sure your investment is going to be protected. What I like to say are the 3 Ps. People, public safety, and partnership. We are going to build out a pipeline of young, bright innovators and those who are now currently being educated in not only our K through 12 schools, but in some of the amazing colleges we have in the area. We are the safest big city in America. That means when you invest here, the employees will move about this city in a safe way. Our subway system is the safest it has been in history, and we continue to drive down crime to ensure that this is a place where you can raise healthy children and families. Out of the housing crisis comes opportunities. We continue to ensure that this city is zoned to build more. The smart bet is here in New York City. This is where you want to invest on your dollars. You're going to get a return on your investment, not only in some amazing projects, but amazing people, an amazing place.
We then got on New York City Ferry, a ferry service run by NYCEDC that has over 20 landings around the city, each of which have resulted in development and opportunities for people to move more freely around the city on the waterways. We traveled about an hour, focusing on the Center Harbor, the Brooklyn waterfront, and the Manhattan waterfront, just as several examples of the wide array of opportunities there are to invest in New York City.
So we launched a request for proposals in November 2023 to electrify this heliport, to reimagine what it can be to accommodate this new technology, and then also to activate something called the Blue Highways, which is a citywide push to decongest our roadways from trucks and start doing freight delivery via water, so on vessels like this with last mile e-bikes and e-quads that drive onto the pier, deliver packages in the city, and then return back to their home base.
So since 2008, there have been numerous projects undertaken. EDC has been primarily responsible for the Big U around Lower Manhattan, protecting our financial district and increasingly a thriving residential neighborhood. The first project runs from Pier 17 all the way past the Battery Maritime building. Every place where we've brought a ferry landing has seen significant upland development. It goes to the popularity of this service.
Economic impact. We are building a 400,000 square foot Center for Climate Research and Green Jobs that will open in 2029. $700 million public-private partnership with $150 million of city investment and an estimated $1 billion economic impact.
There is not enough money in government to do all of the things that we need to accomplish as a city. And so that private partnership and really harnessing the potential for private capital to do that work alongside of us is mission critical to what we do. But what I think you're really seeing here is that the coastline of New York is vast, 520 miles of coastline. We are really a harbor town. So this is a huge area and opportunity for focus as we think about where we need to invest as a city and where innovation can occur. I think what's so interesting about this asset as well is that it's really a part of a broader campus. And that campus is 200 acres on the South Brooklyn waterfront that the EDC directly controls. And I think that's one of the unique things about the EDC is that, yes, we have 200 assets across New York City, 64 million square feet. A lot of that is aggregated into campuses. And with a campus, you have a lot of ability to really use these assets as catalysts for the redevelopment and the growth of whole neighborhoods.
And then we ended here at Cornell Technion, really one of the great examples of public-private partnership in the city that has driven the tech industry in New York City, with a panel of experts on how we can get in the weeds on specific opportunities.
Cornell Tech is an institution that's really rooted in the opportunity that New York City represents and the legacy that in engineering, computer science, and entrepreneurship that Cornell and the Technion Israeli Institute of Technology really stand for. Students and faculty are creating the foundational research that informs our understanding of the world, especially around AI, and then applying that knowledge to solve complex problems to try to make society a better and more equitable and connected place for people to thrive.
People think of New York City as a big corporate town, and the big players are really important. The JP Morgan Chases of the world, the Deloittes. What these folks here are doing is seeding the next generation of big players in New York, but they start small. I mentioned earlier, 1 in 5 businesses in New York City created in the last 12 months. That's an extraordinary stat, speaks to the strength of our startup community. And this is all about part of the 20, 30, 40-year long-term investments that we're making in the future of New York City. So we're thrilled to have Cornell Tech as a partner and be enjoying this just incredible view.
Our initiative is referred to as the City of Yes program. City of Yes for Housing Opportunity was a citywide change in the rules. which allowed for more opportunities for housing, allowing a little bit more housing in every neighborhood of the city. It passed the City Council on December 5th. It went into effect immediately. The most pro-housing zoning plan in New York City enabled 82,000 units of housing over 15 years across all of the boroughs of New York, invests $5 billion in infrastructure and housing itself, and includes some targeted modifications that were responsive to public feedback in the process. We believe that this entire proposal is going to help us turn the tide on our housing crisis. As Andrew noted, I think we're going to look back at that action from December of 2024 and say that was the moment where we increased housing choice, reduced costs for New Yorkers, reduced a lot of the pressures in many of the neighborhoods that were feeling it, more housing types, advancing our fair housing goals to make sure that we're including affordable housing in higher income areas and supporting transit-oriented development. By enabling those missing middle apartment buildings near subway stations, we are recognizing a very important principle that we want people to live in places which have great access to transit.
So we call ourselves a little bit of the Swiss Army knife of economic development at EDC. We do real estate and infrastructure, we build spaces, we build building, we fund equipment that are going to be really important for the innovation economy. So I'll talk to you a little bit about 3 different industries that we've been investing in for the last 15 years, tech, life science, and then more recently, the green economy. We today have 360,000 New Yorkers that are working in tech. Very importantly, half of them are working in tech companies and half of them are working in non-tech companies. So it's a very diverse, broad-based sector. One of the really big investments that EDC has been doing over the last 5 years is called Civic Hall. We turned a 1-story retail store that was owned by the city, that was in the heart of the Flatiron and Union Square district, the tech epicenter, and we turned it into an 85,000 square feet event space and tech training center dedicated to bringing New York talent. We want New York City to become the applied AI capital of the world. We have the talent here, already 2,000 AI startups, 40,000 New Yorkers that work in the field. So we really want to bet on life science. This is a sector that we believe will create 40,000 jobs in the next decade in New York. And we already have an $82 billion investment happening in the city. Green economy, this is an investment that we started several years ago under this administration. There are about 130,000 people already working in the green economy in New York City today. And we believe that by 2040, 400,000 New Yorkers will be fueling this growth.
In Manhattan, on Fifth Avenue, one of the most famous shopping corridors in the world. This district needed investment. It needs its sidewalks to be wider. It needs street trees, street furniture, more opportunities for lingering, for public realm opportunities, and for people to really engage the streets. We're also investing in our transportation hubs. Within the last 2 years, we've had major progress on the Port Authority bus terminal with a rezoning action, as well as a financing deal that has been made between the city and the state to enable that project to move forward. One of the most exciting things that's been happening in New York in the last couple of years is what I'm calling break rooms to bedrooms. We are talking about how we repurpose offices for residential, and we're able to use the accumulated vacancy in our office space to help make a dent in the housing crisis. It does not solve the housing crisis, but what it does is bring residential units right into the city core, and through a tax abatement program called 467M, it brings 25% affordable into those buildings and ensures that people of all incomes can live within these key job-rich districts. The city set a goal that we want to lease 50 million square feet of office space this year. That is a huge target. In the 25 years prior, we've leased about an average of 35 million square feet a year. So we are on pace to meet the 50 million square foot target this year. The market has really opened up and we are seeing a lot of interest and activity. The EDC also has discretionary tax abatement programs called our IDA, which is our Industrial Development Authority, that catalyzes investment across life sciences, film and media, manufacturing, and green energy, in particular, a lot around battery storage. There is a tax abatement program that we would like to share with you and sort of talk to you about how our incentives could be catalytic in going from, I'm not so sure if this is the right moment or the right time, to yes, this is the bet that I want to place and put this project into motion.
What we demonstrated today, not just by the numbers, but by exploring the physical assets themselves, seeing the progress, that the fundamentals of New York City's economy are stronger than ever.
Can't thank Andrew and Yusuf and Melissa and the entire team at EDC for creating this amazing experience and for all the work and all the conversations we've been having for over a year now in terms of how to connect our worlds better. Big round of applause for the amazing thing we've done.